Alright, that should just about do it.
Turtle Rex ready for action. What is my mission?
Why don't you shoot Raphael, just for the heck of it? Non-lethal.
Affirmative. Mission complete.
What is going on, guys? Ultimate Deadpool here, back finally with another props video. Some of you guys seem to enjoy these figure reviews and stuff like that. So without further ado, we've got a bunch of stuff to get into, so let's go ahead and get on down to the smaller stuff first, and then we'll go on to the more bigger and exciting things. So let's go ahead and jump right into things. Alright, so finally we got some Lego stuff going on here. For a channel that was kind of built off of Lego, no pun intended. So we've got a knockoff Palpatine here, and this Palpatine's kind of cool. For one, he's got a little hologram, little statuette thing, which I think is fun. He's got a red hood and a red suit, which I think is even cooler. And then they have this black visor-like thing, but it's supposed to actually be his eyes kind of hidden from his with his hood. Kind of like it was in certain scenes of the prequels and or the Clone Wars show, which I finally did actually watch, and it wasn't bad, but I prefer the live action stuff better. That's just me. And then he has a reversible face of his nasty Sith face. So, not too bad. This version of Palpatine is definitely going to go in my Star Wars collection, hence why I bought the damn thing. And, you know, he's doesn't have a lightsaber, just these translucent electrical pieces, which I'll probably end up using for Iron Man or something like that. But other than that, I mean, it's not a bad figure. The helmet, the hood mold is one of the newer ones that Lego's been producing lately. The print on it isn't too bad. I don't think he's got any back printing. Oh, he does have a little bit. Okay, well. But in all, not too bad. In terms of quality, I mean, it's a knockoff, but it's a better knockoff than some of the other stuff that I found. So I give this one, no, I don't know, 8 out of 10. And sticking with Lego Star Wars stuff, we have what I'm assuming is a Death Trooper. I don't remember exactly what these things are called. I know they're like Stormtrooper droids or something like that. Now, this is a 100% original, custom, whatever, molded thing that you can get, at least at my local comic store. Madness Games and Comics. Not sponsored by any sense of the word. But they have a lot of really cool custom knockoff Lego brand figure type things, and this is one of them. This is 100% original molds. The headpiece is original, if you can actually get the helmet off. So an original helmet mold, original armor mold, original torso mold, arms, legs, weapons. The whole thing is original molds. And I love it when knockoff companies do that. So again, I'm not entirely sure what this guy's supposed to be called or what he is. I know he's a Star Wars character because I remember fighting these damn things in the Force Unleashed video game and dying several times from them. But and I also remember that they're in the Mandalorian season 2 when spoilers, Luke Skywalker shows up. I think this is where that's where he's at. But anyway, or these things are at. But anyway, I know they're supposed to be like recognized stormtroopers or something. So anyway, moving on. All right, so let's stick with our non-Ninja Turtle stuff right now. We've got a Funko Pop vinyl collectible Ghost Rider. Now, some of you guys might not know this. Ghost Rider is actually my favorite superhero of all of Marvel Comics. Yes, even rivaling Deadpool. Well, he's one of my favorites. Deadpool is actually my most favorite. But Ghost Rider is my second place favorite. Just because his power set is just so cool and so awesome. And, you know, I love the Nicolas Cage version of Ghost Rider. Well, at least the first movie. The second movie, it's hit or miss. But I saw this at my local Target, and I'm like, you know what? I've always hated the comic book things like this because to me, they just look weird. And you know, I brought it home. I opened up the box. I'm like, really? You can't even take the freaking pop out of the box because they literally have it. If you look just close enough, right there, they have it screwed onto this case that it has, because this is a plastic case with a box around it, which is cool because that basically recreates the comic book art that's on the back of the box, which I think is fun. And they even have 2 holes back here inside the plastic box, so you can hang it on a wall, and it makes it look nice and pretty. So I mean, in terms of design and whatnot, I think this is fun. This is cool. I've always hated these stupid Funko Pop comic book covers because I've seen all these other ones, and they look cool, but to me, I wouldn't get them because you can't display these things correctly. But I mean, it's Ghost Rider, and you know, I love anything and everything Ghost Rider, and when I can find something like that in a store, you better bet your ass it's coming home with me. But I mean, this is probably going to be on a wall, if not a display case, forever. So, and yes, I do have every intention of getting the actual Funko Pop Ghost Riders at some point, but I had to start off with this because this is just so cool, and it's probably going to be hung up on a wall forever. But you know what? You got to take the bitter with the sweet in some cases. So, but you know what? It's not too bad. So I'm going to give this probably a 9 out of 10. Moving on. Okay, ignore what I just said about hating these comic book cover things because I ended up getting The Last Ronin as well. But there's a reason for that. I don't know if the Funko Pop guys have actually made a Last Ronin figure solo or separate from this comic book cover background thing. So that's one of the reasons why I picked it up. Plus, it's The Last Ronin, the most badass version of Michelangelo there is. So I couldn't help it. They were both at my local Target. They were really cheap, believe it or not. Or at least cheaper than I thought they were going to be. And I'm like, you know what? As much as I don't want to do it, screw it. Why not? And it came home with me. And mostly because I just love the design choices that they choose for these things. They always go as far out as they possibly can with these things. The actual Funko Pops, they're hit or miss. But I just love that they actually took the fake comic book backdrop that they use, because this is fake. This is not, as far as I know, this is not the background of or cover of any Last Ronin comic book. I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that. But as far as I know, this is not a real cover. So it's kind of cool that they took a fake cover or possibly a fake cover and turned that into a pop specifically for display purposes, just like this. So in that regard, I can respect it and understand it. So this is again going to go probably going to go on my wall and probably never going to be touched, never going to be opened, never going to be done anything with. And you know what? I'm okay with that because, like I said, they're cool. The ones that I think are cool, I'll pick up. But the ones that are like, you know, generic weird stuff, like I've seen like She-Hulk comic book cover pops, a handful of, you know, just really weird one and done like things. Like they have weird ones for certain characters and it just doesn't make sense. But stuff for like, you know, the Last Ronin, Ghost Rider, Spider-Man, you know, stuff like that. If it's something like that makes sense to do it, then okay, I'll look into it. Otherwise, they just don't work for me. So anyway, again, 9 out of 10. Really good. I just wish that you could actually get the figure out of the stupid box and not have a stupid hole in the back of it. So anyway, that's just a small complaint. Moving on. I must be one dumb sucker for these Ninja Turtle characters things because I'm going to say this right now. I have a soft spot for the third Ninja Turtles live action movie, Turtles in Time, only because I would occasionally pop it in every now and then just to have a good laugh and have a good time with it. Because back when I was a kid, I just enjoyed it because it was a Ninja Turtles movie. Looking back at it as an adult, oh my god, that movie is so awful. But I still have a soft spot because it dared to do something different. I think the thing that really made it suck was the fact that Jim Henson's Creature Shop did not return for the third movie. I think if they had simply done that, that movie would have been 100% better. even though the whole movie itself was still stupid as hell. But when it comes to their figures are misleading on what that movie is. Because even the box art, it misleads you saying that this movie actually looks really good. And I just think that's baffling. So I do not have Raphael and Donatello right now, but I do have Leonardo and Michelangelo. But yeah, and then they have, they have a handful of accessories. The sword actually broke inside the package, but you know what? That's not here nor there. But it's just the third Ninja Turtles movie was like, okay, you know what? If they make the NECA figures for it, okay, fine. I'll go ahead and pick them up just so that way I can say I have every single version of the live-action Ninja Turtles ever made, or at least all the main four turtles or main four characters. And when I saw this at one of my Walmarts, I'm like, this is stupid. These are ugly. These are weird. Why would they make these? But then I actually got them, or more like they followed me home. And I opened the box. I took out the figures. I'm like, okay, the figures are okay. And the figures are actually really well detailed. Because I don't know why, but if you haven't seen the third Ninja Turtles movie, basically all you need to know is the Ninja Turtles travel back in time to Japan and become samurais. That's pretty much what the entire plot of the third movie is. And you know what's cool is you can take off this stuff, and it's like, you know, the faces, they don't look that bad. They actually kind of look better than the actual movie, which I think is hysterical because the freaking suits for the third movie were atrocious. But here with the figures, they're not that bad. And in fact, I think these actually look really good. Even though that's saying something because nobody liked the third movie's practical suits. The detail work is obviously really good because it's the NECA Corporation. The armor plating looks really good. You know, it's got really nice detail along the hands, brass knuckles and stuff on the fingers. Like, it looks really nice. His nunchucks I put in the belt so that way he could hold the samurai sword. And then you can put the mask or the samurai mask back on. And then there's a small ball joint right there inside the helmet that fits over his knot on the bandana, and he can wear his samurai attire. And then obviously if you look very closely, you can see his mouth underneath it. So in terms of it just being a Ninja Turtles 3 figure, I don't do it. I like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of Ninja Turtles 3. I think it's Time Turtles or Turtles Through Time or whatever the hell the subtitle is. But as a figure, this isn't bad. And before anybody asks, yes, the Turtles in Time characters, when I have all four of them, will appear in the stupid multiversal Ninja Turtle movie that is not canceled, so stop asking me if it's canceled. It is going to happen, just not for a while. And, I mean, and I'm not going to immediately kill them off. Okay, well, I may kill them off immediately right away. But if I don't, they will have a very small role, but nothing major. So I'm going to give Michelangelo here probably a 10 out of 10 just in terms of detail, but in terms of the movie, a 0 because I just am not a big fan of that movie. Nobody was. And if you are a fan of the Ninja Turtles the Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, Turtles in Time, if you are a fan of that movie, I'm not trying to bash you. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I just did not care for that movie because of the suits and the story. So, anyway, let's move on. Okay, now we have Leonardo. Now, I can talk today, I swear. For those of you who may not know this, Leonardo is actually my favorite Ninja Turtle out of all four of them. I don't know what it is. I don't know what about him I like the most. Maybe it's because he wears blue. Blue is one of my favorite colors. He's got swords. I think that's the best ninja weapon out of them all. And his personality just, in some weird reasons, remind me of me. So, but he kind of, I don't know. I can't explain why Leonardo's my favorite character of the Ninja Turtles world, or my favorite turtle of the four. But let's get into this, because I'm going to say right now, this is not a bad figure. And it's just again, kind of like what Michelangelo had, it just has the weight of a bad movie. But between Michelangelo and Leonardo, there's a very big difference in how they did it. For one, his cloaky thing that they gave him. I know they had these in the movie, but I don't remember him having to cut holes in the damn thing so that way you could put his stupid katana sheaths through it. I don't recall that being in the movie. Granted, it's been like 5-6 years since I actually watched Ninja Turtles 3. But still, I don't recall this being in the movie. And then his face. I was giving so much praise and stuff for the Michelangelo version of making the suits that were god awful for the Ninja Turtles 3 movie suits looking somewhat tolerable. His mouth and his eyes just make him look like he is stoned off his ass. Like this Leonardo seriously looks like he just did a whole bunch of naughty drugs and is like on freaking cloud 9. So yeah, his eyes and mouth especially just do not do this figure justice. The actual design for it in terms of lookalikes from the movie to this looks really good. The only thing I'd say is the swords are really loose inside of his sheaths. You have to like literally pry them down so they don't freaking spin out of control and or fall out. But you know, that's just a minor nitpick. And then even his armor stuff doesn't really fit on correctly. Michelangelo's really doesn't either, because of the way that they have this stupid ball joint thing in here for their bandanas to fit them on. You have to like position it just right so it doesn't fall off. And even then, even when you have the mask and stuff on, it still just makes it look like he is either drunk off his ass or stoned. And it's like, why you got to do Leonardo like that, man? Why couldn't you have given him a slightly different facial expression, or at least have his eyes opened all the way? Because if you had his eyes opened all the way, that would 100% change this thing. But anyway, that's just my minor nitpicks. It just makes it look like Leonardo is stoned off his butt. And Leonardo's my favorite character, and I'm biased to that version of the character. I like Leonardo, and I hate seeing stuff like this that kind of downgrade him a lot, or in this case a little bit. But you know what? It's again a minor nitpick. The actual figure's not too bad. It's just the face that I don't care for. Otherwise, the rest of it's actually not too bad. Okay, so there's actually a very funny story about this particular thing. While I was at my local Target earlier, or one of my local Targets, there was a guy who was in the same section as me, looking at the same stuff I was, and he had two of the same box in his hand, and it was both of these. It was this box and another one. It was the exact same thing, not unopened, unreturned, whatever you want to call it, non-touched stuff. And I kid you not, for 10 minutes, I stood there waiting for him to put one of the boxes back so I could snatch it real quick, because they only had two. I'm like, there's no freaking way you're buying two. There's no freaking way you're going to buy two of these damn things. And for like 5-10 minutes, I stood there just looking randomly at stuff that I didn't care to look for. I saw this, and I'm like, oh my god, it's much cheaper to get something like that at Target than it is to get it anywhere else, just because Target has amazing deals on stuff like that, especially when they're brand spanking new like this. So I'm like, dude, just freaking pick one. They're the same crap. So 5-10 minutes later, he finally puts this one back on the shelf and like immediately walks away. I'm like, you seriously freaking held both boxes? And I'm like, he had the covers open, like almost professionally inspecting the figure and whatnot. He was like inspecting to see if there was any impurities, any mess ups, or whatever the case may be. I'm like, dude, you're either a hardcore collector or you have no idea what you're looking for and you just want to look cool. So that's just to me, that's just funny that this dude literally spent like 5-10 minutes, and keep in mind, he was there before I got there. So, and he was still looking at those boxes. So he had probably been standing there for a good probably 20 minutes looking at both boxes, inspecting these figures before he even bought anything, just so that way he could say, hey, look, I got the one that I wanted. It's like, dude, just freaking pick one and go. So that's my funny story with it. So on to the actual figure. Actually, let's go to the box first, because I always love the box arts on these Universal Monster character turtles. So box art, really cool. I love the cartoonish look of it. I love the full moon in the background. You know, Raphael as the Wolfman. I love that. It's fun. Sides really fun. You know, full moon frights. You better be werewolf. I love those clever jokes that they like to put in there. You know, hear the howl of the turtle on the prowl. Like, that's a fun play on words. Feast your eyes on the beast with size. Like, come on. It's got to rhyme. And then, you know, warning, the claws are out. Witness the terrifying transformation, Raphael as the Wolfman. And it's just like, it's just so fun. And it's just, these are just dumb, fun characters. And I'm so glad that I have now all of them except for April and Master Splinter. And then you have the inside box art where it's just basically the non-pose that he's in now. And yes, his sides are in there because I wanted to put him in this specific pose. It's supposed to look like a dog sitting, but instead it looks like he's about to twerk. So I'm going to quickly take him out of this pose so I can do the actual figure review. But in all seriousness, this is actually a really fun, really cool character or figure. I wouldn't say it's my favorite Ninja Turtles Universal Monster crossover, but it's definitely not the worst. Actually, I don't think there really is a bad one. Mostly because of how much detail they put into designing these turtle crossover characters as the Universal monster that they're trying to cross over. And here with Raphael as the Wolfman, it's fun. You know, I do like Raphael better as the Frankenstein, or as Frankenstein's monster. I do like that one a little bit better than this one, but that's just because that one has a lot more detail than this one does. Don't get me wrong, this one's got plenty of detail. Because the entire character is has this fur texture because, you know, it's a wolf and whatnot. And they even gave him dog hind leg, like the dog creases like dog legs do, which I think is freaking cool. The tattered clothes look really good. The flesh colored things for the actual turtle parts and stuff look really fun. I wish they had done that for the beak up around his face. But, I mean, other than that, I mean, the figure's freaking gorgeous. You know, the tears in the shirt match up virtually perfectly for the actual Wolfman movie. And then you've got... And this is why I always thought the Universal Monster Turtles were modeled after the Jim Henson's Creature Shop characters. And I'll explain why in just a second as soon as I get him back on there. If you look at the Jim Henson's Creature Shop turtles next to the Universal Monster Turtles, their designs are almost identical in a weird way. Like, take, for instance, his belt right here, and take his belt right here. It's got the same bolted-on holsters that his sides go into right here, matches here. The elbow pads and knee pads match exact. The wristbands even match. So it's kind of teeter-totters on, was this on purpose or was this a coincidence? You decide. But, I mean, don't get me wrong. This is a cool character, okay? And I even think it's funny that they made his shell fluffy as well, or fuzzy as well. I think that's just so fun that they made his shell furry. I think that's kind of funny that they did that. The only thing I wish they had done differently is that I wish they had taken the tattered part of the shirt, like these tears right here. I wish they had taken that off. If it was just a furry shell, I think it would have been much better and much funnier. But, I mean, this is not for comedy. This is to make money. The whole purpose of these things are to make money. And they obviously got mine because here it is. But one thing I am kind of confused on is, for some reason, this head has fluffy ears or whatever up here, but his alternative head does not have that. It's just a smooth furry head. So I don't know if this is just like his ruffled hair, like he was been in a fight or whatever, and he just kind of shakes his head or whatnot, and this fur's now sticking up. I don't know. But this is a little minor thing. And then his size are freaking awesome. One side has like a bone or whatever tied to it, and then it's got two bone blades. This other side has the cane, the head of the cane from the original werewolf movie or Wolfman movie, the silver wolf head with the star, and then like a Kandarian dagger from from Evil Dead with two bone parts on the side of it. And they do fit in his hands perfectly with the hands that you're actually supposed to have to hold the thing or hold the stuff. And then they do fit in the holsters just fine, or the sleeves just fine. So, and then the alternative head is, like I said, it's not bad. I do prefer this one just a little bit better. The only thing I wish they had both eyes opened all the way like they do on his alternative facial expression. But again, minor nitpick. And then he also comes with like this gigantic bear trap thing up at the top corner up here. It's got a humongous bear trap, which I think is just fun. Because one of the ways that they try to stop the Wolfman in the original movie is they use a bear trap to catch him. Because it's an animal. Or animalistic type creature. So, expect this to show up in a couple of videos. And it's going to be a fun ride. Anytime this guy's on screen, just for the noises that this thing is going to make is going to be fun. But anyway, not too bad, not too shabby. Definitely not the best, Universal Monsters crossover, but definitely not a bad figure by any stretch of the word. This thing is unbelievably detailed, and for that I respect it. I just wish they could have done something a little bit different with the alternative head and the beak on the turtle, as well as the tattered shirt on the back. Otherwise, this is a phenomenal figure. So, moving on. Okay, I lied. We have one more character before we go completely Turtle Mania, even though the last character is not really a Ninja Turtle, but he's a Ninja Turtles character. So we got Michael Myers from Halloween Ends. Now, I was going to do this as its own separate video, but I said, you know what, screw it. I'm already doing a video right now. Might as well just go ahead and throw him into the mix. So, Halloween Ends. I don't remember if I actually reviewed that movie or not, but I did watch it the day it came out on Peacock. And I actually liked it. I'm one of the few people who actually does like Halloween Ends. I thought it was a good movie, but not how they should have ended the Blumhouse trilogy. And spoiler alert for those of you who have not watched it, it's the only time Michael Myers has ever actually died. In every single Halloween movie, Michael Myers has never died. And if he does, it's because he was supposed to die and then comes back immediately for the sequel. So, it's just always so fun that, Michael Myers always came back. And then to have him get killed off, and not only killed off, his body destroyed by a metal grinding machine or whatever, that was just awesome to me. And yes, I know Michael's really not in the movie a whole lot. They actually focus more on a side character or a different villain of Corey. But in all fairness, if something like that happened to me, or something that happened to Corey happened to me, yeah, I'd be a little irritated too, and would probably have an even worse experience considering my mental state is not always the best either. But, he just lived up to that persona because that's how everybody saw him, because of an accident that was definitely not his fault if you actually go back and you watch that movie. So I can understand why people do not like Halloween Ends. I found it to be a fun movie because the kills were nasty and painful, and if a movie can make me cringe by, oh, that hurts, I have got to like the kills. I got to like the kills. But I understand why people don't like it. Michael really wasn't in the movie all that much. He felt more as like a sidekick to this Corey character. And, it was okay. But getting on to the figure, I love it. I love this figure. The white specks of mold that are on his clothes, because he just does not change clothes. Because there's like a 4 or 5 year time jump in between Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends. There's at least a 3 or 4 or 5 year whatever time jump in between. So Michael has been wearing the same clothes. He's been in this cave or whatever, basically just ready to die. He's just Halloween Kills, and Halloween 2018 was his big finale and basically his retirement. And I love the fact that they gave him all the battle damage that he has. Like, he's got like pitchfork sparks, spike holes and whatnot, several different wounds and stuff all over his body. I wish they had kept the bandages and stuff on his fingers, since his fingers got shot off in Halloween 2018. Then he's got a couple other bullet holes and slash marks and stuff all over his torso. I think that's a really fun addition. Plus they've got the the cut mark right here. Obviously his face got burned a little bit on this side, and they even have some like white flaky stuff to show the mold from the suit just kind of falling apart, because Michael was literally wanting to die in his standard outfit. And then he's got, this version of Michael has 3 different knives. He's got a clean knife, a bloody knife, and a rusty knife. We decided to do the rusty knife because it's the only one that's unique, and the only one that's not on my shelf that does not have a bloody knife. Because I have a horror movie cabinet that I custom made, and it's got all the Michael Myers that I have up to this point, and they all have either a clean knife or a bloody knife, whatever they came with, or whatever we thought worked better. So since this is a retired Michael, give him a retired rusty knife. So, like I said, in terms of detail, really good, really nice figure. Love the blood works and stuff for his injuries that he received in Halloween Kills. And even the rusty knife looks really good. That looks like actual rust, even though it's a plastic knife. Now getting on to the box. The box is obviously just the cover of the movie. And then on the back, it's got various things that you could do and poses that you could do with this figure in front of backdrops. Like, they've got several different looks of Michael that are typical. The slashing look, the I'm gonna stab you look, the menacing Michael, menacing Michael, menacing Michael, menacing Michael, and then a pumpkin, because why not? Opening up the box, you got menacing Michael in the sewers, which is just like where that's exactly what Michael looked like when he was just ready to die. He's got an alternative head for some reason that has blacked out eyes, versus this one's got, one painted eye, the other one is solid white, because this one obviously got burned, and his retina, what was left of it, got burned. He's got a couple of different hands and 2 different knives, and for some reason a pumpkin that looks like you can actually take the face off, which I think is kind of fun. But other than that, Michael Myers, this is just another Michael Myers to add to my horror movie NECA collection. So, not bad. This version of Michael is probably never going to appear in any videos, and if he does, he's going to get killed off really quickly or just taken down really quickly. Very much how he actually did in the actual movie. But anyway, not too bad. Let's move on. Oh, probably should pause the video first. Okay, I have saved the best for last. And I stress the word best because this guy is going to be teased so much. He was teased at the beginning of this video. He's going to be teased at the end of this video. And for a reason. This dude is called Rex. A Rex clone or whatever. There's a 1987's Ninja Turtles episode called the New York Shiniest. And basically this robotic cop, not this exact one, but it's the exact same design, except picture a light blue shirt, dark blue pants, light silver head. And basically as friendly as can be. And this is like a prototype thing, and it was basically the Ninja Turtles version of RoboCop. Because around that time, RoboCop was, getting ready to be released, and they're like, hey, why don't we do something like that? And voila. So this is an evil version of Rex. The actual character, like I said, was blue and had dark blue legs and a light silver head, versus this one is all gunmetal black or gunmetal gray, one of the two, with white highlights instead of it being black. So, and a few other little minor changes here and there from the original Rex. I do not have Rex 1 right now. He is on my to-get list, mostly because I always loved that episode just because of how funny Rex was to me, and just the fact that he was a police robotic cop. I always thought that was just so funny that it was kind of Ninja Turtles version of RoboCop. So right off the bat, we'll get to the box first. Move his heavy butt out the way. The box art is awesome. I love the fact that this evil robot is just crushing Donatello's head, and his facial expression of his face getting squished by this robot is just fucking hilarious to me. And then, you know, it's got the Sewer Hero series, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles production from National Entertainment Collectors Association, Terminate the Turtles. I just thought that was so funny. And what's funny is I didn't recognize the character when I saw it on the shelf. I'm like, what the hell is that? And then I opened the box. I'm like, oh my god, it's one of those things. And I thought it was just so fun. And then come on, come on, you got to give it to them. That's a badass freaking shot of the figure in a dark room, perfectly lit, like he's ready to attack. That is a cool pose, dude. So that's come on, that's cool. So I saw that, I'm like, oh dude, you gotta come home with me. And then this is kind of what they look like in the show. There's like several different evil versions of this robotic cop. I'm not gonna read all of this because it's just watch that episode. It should be on Paramount Plus if you have it, or it should be on YouTube. You just have to watch a couple of ads. But then you've got Shredder reprogramming it, which I think is so cool. And then it's got the colorful NECA stuff up here. But all in all, just really fun box art. I'm always a sucker for these kind of boxes just because they just look fun. He's got a megaphone that he's not holding. 8 different hands. 10 if you include the 2 that he's got on there now. Two firing color pieces, which for some reason are different colors. And those fit into these guns that he can hold. And you can switch out either fire color for either gun. It doesn't have to be specifically for one or the other. And then he can hold his weapons with just simply sliding them on. I know I'm having a hard time, but I'm also trying to do this one-handed while holding it up. And then, boom, you can have a really cool action diorama of this guy shooting at whatever you want him to shoot at. I mean, this is a cool feature that they did, and I'm so happy that they did that for this character. Now, I'm hoping that the actual version of Rex 1, the good guy version, has the same thing. If not, they should fit the exact same thing, so I can always use one for the other. Have like the blue firepower be for the good guy, have the red firepower be for the bad guy. And I think that's actually why they did that. Now I think about it, I think that's why NECA actually did that, is so you could do it that way if you wanted to display it one way or the other. So as you can tell by the intro of this video, this is the only version of Robotic Rex or RoboCop Rex that I have at the moment. And now I do have plans to get the official one now, or the actual character. Now this is official. This is official NECA. So if my editor is worth anything, he probably would have done it by now, or should have done it by now. But I will Photoshop or whatever a actual photo of Rex 1 right about now. That's what he's actually supposed to look like. And then this is just the evil version that, you know, the city of New York was going to release, or Shredder himself just cloned Rex or whatever for his own sinister plot to kill the Turtles. But one of the reasons why this is actually one of my favorite characters that I've ever purchased, mostly just because of his detail and how badass he looks. Does he not look a little too familiar to somebody else? He should be showing up on screen right about now. With his shin guards the way they look and his actual overall body build, he looks a little too similar to Buzz Lightyear. And my mom and I were kind of talking about this, and we're like, this guy looks a little too much like Buzz Lightyear. Which is funny because this episode, the episode that this character shows up in, aired in 1983. Toy Story did not come out until 1990, I'm sorry. This episode aired in 1988. The actual Toy Story movie did not come out until 1995. Almost an entire decade after this episode had already aired and was finished. So it begs the question, was this a coincidence? Or did Pixar steal the design of Rex 1 for Buzz Lightyear? I highly doubt that. It probably is just a weird coincidence, but you can't tell me that this dude doesn't look almost identical to Buzz Lightyear in a weird way. So, anyway, let's get on to breaking down this figure, because this dude's awesome. As you can see, his hips have these little slots to where his guns can fit on his hips. His legs are fully posable and whatnot. So this guy, I'm going to tell you guys right now, this version of Rex is going to appear in a ton of videos. Mostly the Multiversal Ninja Turtle movie, and I can't explain it right now, but I will in a future video. But this version of Rex is definitely going to appear in a couple of videos, several videos. And I might actually get a second one so I can do a very special video with it. So, and you know, so anyway, he's got gun holsters there. His arms can, obviously his arms and stuff or whatever are fully posable. His hands are interchangeable. The hands themselves can actually pivot in certain directions, which I think is really fun. Usually their character, NECA doesn't do that with their big characters like this. Let me rephrase that. Sometimes they do that with the bigger characters like this. Other times they just leave their hands stationary. Or if they do, they can bend this way, but they can't bend this way. This one, it can bend this way. But sometimes they're just standard characters, their hands only bend that way. So, and then even the detail on the side of the arms, you can tell this is definitely pulled from the 80s with a giant hydraulic and whatever on the side. His back is bulky. He's got the standard police officer looking hat. A slanted eye. Now, in the original Rex, his visor was straight. This one is bent to show that he's evil. He's got a computer pad thing right here on his lower chest. And then just like you saw in the intro, his chest panel, his pec panels, or whatever you want to call them, flip up to show up some technological stuff, just like the 1987's Mighty Metalhead, where his chest panels open up, except instead of opening upward, they open out to the outside. So, and then his mouth moves as well. So it's just like it did in the cartoon. And I always love it when the NECA guys go this far, because they know that stuff like that means a lot to fans of the shows or movies that they model these things after. And it's just so cool that there's a company out there that makes this level of stuff just for fans, really, and for collectors alike. Like, this is just so cool, and I cannot wait to use Rex for future videos, because he is definitely going to be used in at least 7 videos. Just because I've always wanted a character like this. So I'm going to make a separate video probably later this week explaining one of the reasons why Rex is going to play such a big part of a future project. And who knows? Who knows? He may end up having to go up against somebody a little bit more sharp. Maybe even that. Or possibly go up against somebody that is a little bit more dangerous. So, anyway, this version of Rex is awesome. I remember Rex being a tough badass in the 87 show from what I remember. So, anyway, this character I'm easily going to give a 10 out of 10, because the hands have, like, there's 10 pairs of hands. The feet work really well. The knees bend really well. The upper body bends really nicely. The chest armor or whatever flips up and has control panels just like it did in the original cartoon. The print for the hydraulics looks really good. The mouth movements and whatever look really nice. Even if you open his mouth all the way, you can see a little black slit, which is actually a part of the original show as well. So I mean, I know I'm geeking out over this, but this is seriously one of my favorite Ninja Turtle figures to date. Just because of just how intricate it is. Like the chest panels, the arm movements, the leg movements, the mouth movements, the head movements, the fact that you can take off the guns and literally clip them on his side. Oh, chef's kiss. That is awesome. And I seriously cannot wait to use this guy for future videos. Probably his first death battle fight will be against a certain character that was flashed earlier. So, anyway, that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was a little bit longer than most others, so if you have stayed this long, I do appreciate it. If you came back later, I do appreciate that as well. If you flash forward to the end and skipped certain segments, I love you too. So anyway, thank you guys again. And I cannot wait, like I said, I cannot wait to use this guy for future videos. I might actually shoot a video with him tomorrow of his current death battle that I'm wanting to do. But anyway, thank you guys again, and I will catch you guys all later on Ultimate Deadpool. Most likely my next official video on the channel is going to be the completed Ecto 04. We are supposed to get it hopefully officially done this Wednesday. If not, it'll definitely be this coming Sunday. We were supposed to get it done yesterday, but unfortunately, a couple of small things showed up for 5 hours that delayed us. Nobody's fault, and it was unavoidable. It was a 2.5 hour drive that in total took about 5 hours to do, and it was all a scam. So it was an accident on nobody's to blame except for the person who did it. But when we went to go take care of it, it was nobody's fault. So anyway, that's pretty much it. So my next video will probably be that. If it's not, it's definitely going to be the death battle between this guy and somebody else. And that's pretty much it. So again, thank you guys again, and I will catch you guys all next time on Ultimate Deadpool. Peace out. You guys are awesome. I'll catch you guys all later. Bye.